Last month I did something that I never thought that I would be able to do, which was a no buy challenge, and these are 5 things that I've learned. Hey everyone, it's Mariella. Welcome to my channel. As someone who likes having pretty cute things and buying things that make my life easier, I was definitely an overspender. And I'm not saying that now I'm great with my money, definitely not. But I am on a journey to becoming a better consumer and being more mindful with my purchases. Since last year, I've definitely reduced my spending, but I still feel like I need a better system that will help me make better decisions with my future purchases. Because even though I am on a conscious consumer journey, I'm still a consumer, and I do like investing in things that will make my life better or make me genuinely happy. So in order for me to build a sustainable system, and by system that could even mean just developing a better mentality and improving my critical thinking skills when it comes to shopping, I thought that by doing a no buy challenge first will give me the opportunity to learn things about myself. I've tried a couple of no buy challenges in the past, but I was never that serious nor strict about them. So after a couple of days, I just went back to shopping again. This time I went cold turkey. I couldn't buy anything non-essential even if I ran out of something. So for example, skincare, because I was that confident that I had more than enough that would last me for a month, or if I ran out, I definitely had alternatives that I could use. The only exceptions were essentials, so things like food and medicine, and also gifts for other people, because the girl still got to live in love. So yeah, this time it was a full non-essentials no buy for myself, and spoiler alert, it was successful. So I hope that you do find some of the things that I share helpful if you're also on a path to becoming a conscious consumer. So with all that said, let's get into it. The first thing I learned, I survived and more. And I know that might sound a bit cringy and concerning, because what kind of world do we live in if some of us feel like we can't live without consuming? But the truth is, we do live in a consumer world. And for some of us, including myself, the thought of not being able to buy things just because can seem like quite a big challenge. Shopping can be an addiction. It can give you a rush, a distraction, and even a sense of control. And when you're not able to shop, it can rob you of that comfort and coping mechanism. At the start of the no buy challenge, the hardest part for me was when I saw something that I really wanted. Like it was there in stock, ready for me to buy, and I felt that urgency, like that product will make me feel a certain way that I wanted, as if it will add something to me. However, of course, after a couple of days, that feeling wore off. And honestly, in most instances, that urgency and even the desire to want that thing entirely faded. And after a couple of days of wanting that thing, whatever it was, I would think that, I am actually okay. I don't need it, you know? And the more that kept happening, the more I realized that I was okay. I actually gained more confidence in myself, because surviving and being okay without buying all of these things that I didn't really need, I still felt happy. And I would even say more genuinely happy than I was buying, because I actually had more time to focus on doing things that would actually give me more joy, like creating, for example. I still felt loved and validated by my loved ones, which I'll talk a little bit more in another point. I was able to be more grateful, and I think practicing gratitude for the things that really matter in my life, things that are non-materialistic, has really helped me with this as well. And I'm not saying that now buying things don't make me happy or bring me joy, but the main lesson for me was that I am more than okay, and I can still be my best self without the shiny new things. Okay, why do I shop? Learning about my triggers and reasons. So in my no buy month, I started noticing the triggers and situations that would make me want to buy, just by paying a bit more attention to them. So for example, normally when I go on social media and see a product that I really love the thought of, so for example like a perfume or a new jumper, I'll see it, quickly buy it, have it, sometimes forget about it, and that cycle just keeps repeating itself. But I'll be so blind to the reason of why did I actually buy that thing, because I never stopped to question it. When I couldn't buy anything, I had to sit with that feeling for a bit. It made me think about what made me want that thing in the first place, and why do I really want it? I would say that I do have quite a few reasons why I do buy things, but today I wanted to share with you what I think are my 2 main triggers and reasons. Trigger 1, and this is a big one, seeing a product I like on social media, specifically beauty related products, which I have been influenced into buying for a while. And the reason for that I've come to learn is because I want to feel better about myself, for the way I look, to feel more confident, to have that validation from others, and to be basically perceived in a certain way. And I think that by getting that product, whether it's a lip gloss or a bag or a piece of clothing, will help me get to that person that I want to be perceived as. Trigger 2, when I have those moments in my life where it's like, oh, I wish I had something to make this easier. So for example, I'm trying to eat healthier meals and incorporate more veggies in my diet, which means a lot of chopping, and I've been wanting to get one of those vegetable choppers that seem like it's so easy. That's been on my mind for time. And the reason for wanting to buy things like that is a little bit more obvious because those things are designed to make your life easier and make processes like that more convenient. Both of the reasons I listed, even the desire to feel validated, are valid and natural. As humans, it's perfectly normal and natural for us to want to seek recognition, want to impress others, to feel that sense of belonging. But while it's completely fine to seek some level of validation, you can't just keep buying it, especially if it's based on superficial things like how we look and what we have. The best sense of validation and acceptance, at least from what I've learned, comes from who we are as individuals, our own actions and how we treat others. Like I mentioned, there are definitely more reasons why I do tend to buy things, but I thought that my reason for wanting to buy things in order to impress others and paint me in a certain way was really important to mention, because I feel like in this influencer world that we live in, it's so easy to feel like that, and I don't think it's a great way to overconsume. And now that I'm more aware of the root causes of why I want to shop, I can now use that to make decisions on whether it's worth buying. Wishlist first, maybe buy later. Honestly, my wishlist acted as my coping mechanism, my manifestation list, and ultimately my reality check. When I wanted to buy something, I would note it down on my notes app. Later on, I would look back on it to see if it was something that I still really wanted to buy, whether it was something that would truly be useful to me or would make me feel good. So it's basically that advice that suggests that if you really want something, note it down somewhere and wait for 7 days. If after 7 days you still want it, then you have a better idea of whether it's something that you really want or need, or if it was just something in the moment. And that is what it ultimately helped with, and something that I'm definitely going to keep doing. Making it work with what I have. The no-buy month naturally forced me to be more resourceful by using things that I already have. And as someone who shopped a lot, I do have quite a lot of things, and that is definitely a privilege. As an example, I have a lot of samples and travel size products for things like skincare because I bought them to go and travel, or I've just gotten a lot of samples from other purchases. Although I do use a lot of the travel size products, a lot of the samples I just kind of forget about them and just don't use. And a week into my no-buy, I was running out of my milky toner from Tear, so I decided to finally try the Centella Ampule from Skin 1004, which I got as a free gift from a purchase last year. I wasn't using it before because my skin has been stressing out these past couple of years, and I just wanted to reduce the number of new products that I tried and essentially sticking to the ingredients that I know won't trigger my skin. Then I realized that I've been using the Centella sunscreen from the same brand, Skin 1004, for a while now, and it's been fine on my skin. So then I thought the Centella Ampule should be fine. So I started incorporating it slowly, and thank goodness my skin hasn't had any bad reactions to it. And I do like the feel of it on my skin, so I was glad that I actually had the opportunity to use that sample that I got. And having to be resourceful has helped me train myself to think more about the things that I already own in situations where I want to buy something new, which of course in turn reduces so much waste and saves you coin. Last but not least, rules rule. As mentioned in the past, I've done a couple of no-buy challenges that have failed, and I honestly think it's because I had too many exceptions. Exceptions like I can buy toiletries, or I can buy things that go on sale. This time was a full non-essentials no-buy, and I think that's why it works so well for me. It prevented the snowball effect, which comes up a lot in my life, where one exception leads to another, and before you know it, you're back to the point where you're doing the thing that you wanted to avoid in the first place, in this case, shopping. But this time it was the most strict no-buy I've attempted, and actually it was the easiest to stick to. In theory, it is quite simple. You can't buy anything non-essential, but I thought in practice it was going to be much harder. However, even though I did feel the need to buy stuff, and at moments I did get a bit sad and had that weird sense of FOMO that I talked about earlier, it was actually quite easy. And I think it was because I did have that rule that I just couldn't buy anything. So I didn't allow myself to contemplate, I just did it. Or rather, I just didn't buy it. You already know that I'm not planning on doing a no-buy year, and I'm still going to consume, but I learned from this challenge that building specific and sometimes strict rules helped me, at least at first. It can lay the foundation for better habits. It's like training wheels until it becomes second nature to you. And because of that, it's been my most successful no-buy, and most of all, most successful step towards me becoming a better consumer. So those were 5 things that I learned from my no buy month. It's honestly been a really refreshing and grounding time for me, and I'm really happy that I was able to do it. I'm actually still doing the no buy and looking to end it end of this month. I'm not gonna lie, I am looking forward to when I can buy again, but there's also this small part of me that is just a bit nervous because I don't want to go back into bad habits. And I know I'm not gonna go overboard and overspend like I used to last year, for example, but I'm just more determined now to build the better system for myself and have that better mentality on how I spend my money. And obviously in that month I came out okay. I was more than okay, and I really got to learn things about myself. If you have any tips on how you've become a mindful consumer or how you want to become a mindful consumer, please let me know in the comments. And also if you have any experiences that you want to share from your no buy challenges, please let me know. And if you've gotten this far, thank you so much for watching and have a lovely day.